And we're going to go over this book to a great extent, and it is called Set Up and Sold Out. Find out what green really means. There's so many similarities to how they instituted communism in Russia, communism in Nazi Germany, and even in China, in the ways and the motives and the activities that the Green Movement is affiliated with. And I'm going to go down the line with that, and I've got a lot of bookmarks here. It's going to be a lot of fun. They need to vilify a group. Okay, so they've been vilifying Republicans, forever. And now what they're doing is they're vilifying Americans, all of us Americans. We're terrible, mean, greedy, sucking off the environment Americans. And we'll feel all guilty and buy into their green communism. This never worked. Communism, socialism has never worked in any other country because people's natural nature is to want to work as absolutely hard as they possibly can. Where our country started out, they experimented with communism, socialism, whatever you want to call it, when they came over on the Pilgrims. And they said, okay, everybody, let's all work the land and let's all bring in the stuff, the crops, and we'll all share and share alike. And they nearly starved. They nearly starved because people are intrinsically want to feel like the harder they work, the more they're going to achieve and the more they're going to have for themselves. Selfishness is not always a bad thing. So what they did is they realized that they were starving, these Pilgrims, and they said, okay, Smiths, you can have this plot of land, Jones, you can have this one, and to each family they gave a certain section of land, and they said, that's yours, you can do whatever you want to with it. And then they traded with the Indians, and they prospered, and we have the successful country that we have today. And freedom works every time it's tried, and communism and socialism never does. And these people are trying to rob us of our freedom so that these few fat cats in the government can control it. They run them, they're in charge of them, but the private sector supposedly still owns them. Then that's fascism, and communism, socialism was when they just take over like they did with General Motors.
I largely believe about recent events that we had 8 years of a presidential administration who had a majority Republican Congress. It had a majority in both the House and the Senate.
That's incorrect. 6 years. I'm going to correct you right now. Don't be spreading rumors that aren't true.
Okay. Well,
six years, and our economy reached the highest. Dow Jones Industrial reached its highest pinnacle ever in the history of the Dow Jones, 14,000. I know it's a distant memory. 2007 is when that happened. Just a few months after Liberal Democrats came in and took over Congress in the last 2 years of Bush's administration. It takes them a little while to screw up the economy, and as soon as that happened, it started to plummet.
The economy and the Dow Jones and the behavior of the market; those are largely two different things.
Of course, but it's certainly an indicator.
I actually am a trader, so I know the difference.
Do you forget the record prosperity that we had, despite being hit on 9/11, despite having to go to war, that we had in I believe is 05, 04, 05, 06. Distant memory, I guess, to you. But no, I think it did really.
We say that things are social programs are bad, but they're not really bad.
Well, what's an example of a not bad social program?
Okay, yeah. would you call Medicare socialist or?
Yeah, sure would.
Is it bad? Is it bad for seniors?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And seniors don't like it.
Seniors don't like it. The doctors won't take it, and most doctors won't take it. They're managing the health care. They're saying, sorry, if Medicare is the only thing that you have to pay your medical bills, you're not going to get that procedure. So, but if you want us to help you with your assisted suicide, go right ahead. But you're buying right into this whole, let's just pit, everything's George Bush's fault, or everything's Bill Clinton's fault, or everything's Obama's fault. You guys, you got to wake up. This is not just about one individual. This is not just about one party. This is about an entire movement that is trying to take over our country so that a few fat cat corrupt people in government can be in control of everything, can have total and ultimate control, and you can lose all your freedoms. Do you want to keep all your freedoms? How do you feel about losing your freedoms?
Is Social Security a bad thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
Social Security is a bad thing. You haven't named one thing that's good. Tell me one government organization, government program that is run more efficiently. Barack Obama just said on the other day when he was making it, he was trying to make an argument for this stupid Medicare thing or medical thing. He said, well, look at Federal Express and look at UPS. They run it a lot better than the U.S. Postal Service. Well, guess what? The U.S. Postal Service is run by who? The U.S. government. And he just said that they run it more efficiently. They run everything less efficiently than they do in the private sector.
Can I have your Social Security when you get that age?
No, it'll be gone by the time I'm that old. It'll be gone when the time you're old. I don't know how old you are, but it's going to be gone when you're that age because you can't have. It's not like they take your money out of your bank account and they put it in a little place and they say this is Jimmy's money and he's put it set aside. And when Jimmy gets to be 65, we're going to give all that money back to Jimmy. They don't do that. They take your money that you're taking out every day, every month out of your paycheck, and they're paying Grandma and Grandpa who paid it way back in the day when inflation wasn't what it is, and they're paying them cost of living increases and all this other stuff. You have no lockbox. There is no money set aside for you. And by the time they get there, there's going to be like 10, 12 people they're going to have to pay just so that you can get your Social Security. You think that's going to keep going? It's not. That's why they need to get this medical thing passed, and that's why they're going to destroy it because Medicare is going bankrupt. Every one of these programs are going bankrupt if they're not bankrupt already. And you need to wake up and remember this. And this is very they're believing it. This is why I do the show. This is the show where you're going to find news that you're not being told on the government-run news media. They're all telling you what they're being told to tell you. That's what they think is good, and they're like bleeding heart, and they're buying into the green BS. The green movement is the whole front for the whole thing. Because who doesn't want to have clean air? Who doesn't want to have clean water? Who doesn't want to be able to, save the planet for their children? It's beyond, it's narcissism at its absolute peak. To think that we little human beings that cover like, I don't know what percentage of the Earth's surface we cover, would possibly be able to change the weather if we just, recycle a little bit more in this little teeny little section of a little teeny little part of a big, huge state like Oregon, of a fairly moderate-sized country like the United States. Get over it. Figure it out. Stop it. Pay attention. Research. Go on the internet and watch my show and call in next. I do this once a month. I vent, and it's very cathartic for me.